Coming up on the show, the snub of all snubs. We're going to hear from Rob Pitts. He's the chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners and why the White House recently took back his invitation. Plus, how GDOT is getting ready for what could be major tie-ups on the downtown connector next week. And college athletes could soon be getting a cut of the billions they helped generate. This is The Take. Let's get it. Hello and welcome. I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take. We have expanded to an hour, right? We go above and beyond the headlines where we get to the why and the how stories are impacting you and your community. We invite the experts in to share their take on today's top stories, and we try to have just a little bit of fun as well. Here's where we're starting this morning. Fulton County Chairman Rob Pitts says he was blindsided after being abruptly disinvited from a White House leadership event just days after flying to Washington, D.C. on the county's dime. The trip, aimed at advocating for key local priorities, cost taxpayers nearly $2,000. Now questions are swirling around why Pitts and another Metro Atlanta Democrat were removed from the guest list despite confirming attendance weeks in advance. And Chairman Pitts joins us now on the show. Welcome to the show, Chairman Pitts.
Great to be with you this morning.
All right, talk to us about this event. First of all, what was the event that you were planning to go to up there?
Well, I received an invitation from the White House Leadership Conference, I believe, where they'd invited 75 local elected officials in Georgia, and I being one of those. There's room for 75. I was one of the first to RSVP. My RSVP was confirmed, so I'm all excited about going. But I went up a day early to meet with members of our delegation, and I was prepared for the next day to go on Monday, but actually on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And my office called me and said, we have a problem. We received an email that you have been disinvited, but they used the term that no longer welcome to attend. So I was shocked to receive it because 4 of my other colleagues on the commission, Fulton County Commission, they had RSVP'd much later than I had, but they were not disinvited. In addition to disinviting me, they disinvited Lisa Cupid, who is the chair of the Cobb County Commission, Carlotta Harrell from Henry County, and the chair of the Rockdale County Commission as well. So we have no idea why the 4 of us and have not received any explanation. In fact, a couple of reporters who were trying to get to the bottom of called the White House to try to figure out what happened, and I'm told that the White House, whoever answered, hung up the phone on them. So it's still a mystery to me. Wow.
Now, did you make your way over there first, or did you receive that call before you even tried to get in?
I received it before I went over, but I was there anyway to talk to our members of our Georgia delegation, to talk about programs that we heard might be cut, because I'm always working for residents of Fulton County. So that was the purpose of the trip. But in addition to talking with members of our delegation, I was really excited about having the opportunity to meet face-to-face with key cabinet members to talk about what we need here in Fulton County. Like, for example, there was a grant that's already been approved for the Beltline. Already been approved, but it's on hold now. I said, well, that doesn't make any sense because we need this grant. And so again, very shocked when it happened, and still to this day have not received an explanation as to why.
What's your speculation around it? I know they haven't given you an explanation, but when you look at who was invited, who said they'd be there and was disinvited, what's your speculation behind this?
You know, I've thought about every possible reason why, and I can't come up with anything that makes any sense. I mean, again, 4 chairs from the metropolitan area here, but 4 of my colleagues were invited, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and not disinvited. Why me?
Now, were you the only?
I know I've been pretty outspoken in terms of going back to the elections and things of that nature, back to 2020 and 2024, but always been respectful of the White House, no matter who occupies that seat, because after all, like them or her, him or her, or dislike him or her, they're still the president and the leader of our country. My goal is to fight for Fulton County, which is why I was going.
Do you know if you were the only one who was disinvited?
No, there were 4 from the Fulton County area.
Okay, and all of them were disinvited.
Cobb, Henry,
and you said Rockdale.
So Fulton.
All of you all were disinvited.
Democrats,
okay.
All Democrats.
And all Democrats.
Yes.
So do you think that played a role?
Well, I mean, that's one theory. But why were my 4 colleagues who went, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, not disinvited, and there were Democrats from other counties who were not disinvited?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the mystery.
Mm-hmm. Now, we mentioned
and even as we talk today, still no explanation from anyone.
Wow.
I'm continuing to plug away for Fulton County. I
was about to say, I know that you're probably still going to try to get to the bottom of it, and we want to be one of the first to hear. We're going to invite you back just to hear about it. But what do you say to those taxpayers who help fund your trip up there about that money?
Well, I mean, that's a part of the job. You have to fight and advocate for Fulton County.
Right.
And the investment, a flight and a night in a hotel, I think, is small potatoes compared to what's at stake. Probably, I think it was hundreds of millions of dollars in grants that we have applied for and in line to receive. So you have to go and talk to. In fact, when I go there, I talk to Democratic members of Congress and Republican members of Congress who represent Georgia, because when it comes to the full floor, we want everybody voting for us,
absolutely,
regardless of the side of the aisle that they're on. Absolutely.
All right, Chairman Pence, really appreciate your insight. We're going to try to help you get to the bottom of the story as well. If you find out before we do, come on back and join us and tell us so we can put this to bed, all right?
I'd be delighted.
All right. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We also reached out to the White House for a comment, but officials have not returned our inquiries, just like what Chairman Pence is saying. So we'll try to get to the bottom of it, folks, keep you updated. All right. I'm going to keep you updated on this forecast because, and really, I guess I don't have to tell you because there's not much change in it. We're going to see these scattered showers and thunderstorms right on through Father's Day weekend. Unfortunately, it's mainly during the afternoons that we'll see these thunderstorms popping up throughout the forecast area. Unfortunately, folks, I know if you got Father's Day plans outside, you may have to adjust those a bit. There will be some dry times around the area, but by and large, we'll see these afternoon scattered showers, thunderstorms popping up on us. Temperatures will stay in the 80s, mid to upper 80s for afternoon highs. We'll be watching temperatures get into the 90s by the time we get to the middle of next week, and our rain chance starts to lower just a little bit as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So we're looking pretty good there. But even with the 80s, the humidity that's going to be out there will make it feel like the 90s. So make sure you dress accordingly and dodge those raindrops if you can, especially those thunderstorms. Even if you can hear thunder, it's not raining where you are, you can be struck by lightning. So take the necessary precautions. Get the kids off the field for practice when that's taking place. All right, 9:07. We'll be back right after this. Overnight, a California appeals court siding with Donald Trump in his National Guard tug-of-war with California. The decision just hours after the lower court ruled that the president had overstepped his authority. Let's bring in NBC's Chris Pallone in Washington, D.C. And Chris, how unusual is it to see this kind of rapid judicial back and forth between the state and federal courts?
Yeah, it happens from time to time. I think what was remarkable about it, Chesley, was that it happened so quickly. California Governor Gavin Newsom only had a couple of hours to gloat about his huge victory in district court over the Trump administration, basically winning back the power to control his own state's National Guard over the White House. Judge Breyer issuing a 36-page decision, basically giving the state of California everything it asked for and even more, saying that that the president did not follow proper protocol in calling up the National Guard against the governor's wishes. And then not a couple of hours later, this 3-judge panel basically said, hold on for a few minutes, and they scheduled briefs and a hearing coming up in a few days.
Wow. You know, here in Atlanta, we know that there'll be another protest planned for tomorrow. Are there any other locations of protest nearing the level of Los Angeles, or is that a bit of an exceptional case over there?
Yeah, I think it's been exceptional in California. We have certainly seen violent skirmishes between police and protesters in places like New York and Seattle. You know, when the police move in and try to get the crowds either out of the street or force them to disperse, there are clashes and there are arrests. I think in New York and Foley Square the other night there was something like 80 arrests. But certainly nothing rising to the level of the multi-day thing that we've seen in Los Angeles and the particular vitriol once the National Guard started arriving and the feds started asserting their dominance over the state of California. That really seemed to inflame the situation.
Have we heard more from the National Guard? I think we talked to you yesterday about you know, local authorities holding the line and that kind of thing. Have we heard anything from the National Guards?
They just continue to guard the federal buildings. There are a couple of federal buildings in Los Angeles that they seem to be guarding. We had been expecting the arrival of Marines to replace those National Guardsmen and women as well. And, we've been told that the Marines will possibly be involved in transporting and protecting ICE agents as they conduct raids, but we've yet to see that so far.
All right. There seems to be a lot of tension, obviously, around the states' rights versus the federal power in this story. How are leaders like Governor Newsom framing his fight in front of the public?
In very catastrophic terms, to be honest, Chesley. The governor has been very vocal, saying that this is authoritarian, that the Constitution is under assault when a president can come in and unilaterally call up the National Guard, which is generally a governor's role, and say and invoke certain laws that, upon reading the law, and the first federal judge last night basically said this, that upon reading the laws that the president's using to apply, you can't say that the standards have been met, that there's an uprising going on. I mean, this is domestic clashes, but, is the country under invasion? Is there an uprising against the government going on? The first federal judge certainly didn't think so. We'll see what this three-judge panel ultimately rules when the state and the White House submit their briefings on Sunday and Monday, and then they have this hearing on Tuesday. We'll see if they agree or disagree.
Gotcha. You told us yesterday that, Los Angeles is a big place, and the impacts here were a little bit smaller, maybe in one neighborhood over, and you wouldn't even know what was going on unless you saw it on the news. Are they starting to feel any economic impacts? Any small businesses starting to feel the impacts from this?
Yeah, there's a lot of impact economically. First of all, you have these businesses in the area that's under curfew that they're forced to close at 8 o'clock at night and be closed until 6 o'clock in the morning. Shopkeepers are telling local media there that they're suffering because of that. And then you're also seeing places that are being raided, these clothing manufacturers, these farms, car washes that are losing their employees that are certainly being affected as well.
Okay, there you go. Chris, thanks so much for joining us, man. Have a great weekend, okay?
Sure.
All right.
You too.
When we return, folks, we're going to speak with MARTA Police about their plans to increase safety to our customers. This is The Take, and we're back right after this. Welcome back to the show. MARTA is working to step up safety with a way to spot and stop crimes before they escalate. Here with us now is Chief Scott Creer with the MARTA Police Department. Chief Creer, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right. Walk us through this real-time crime center, what it's all about.
Yeah, we figured a couple of years ago that staffing was not going to be the 100% solution to fighting crime here at MARTA. And we see that around the region. All of our regional partners that we operate in also stand up real-time crime centers. So we were able to communicate together and fight crime together as one unit. And so we initiated our real-time crime center in our budget last year, and we are happy to say we completed it a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've got full-time staff, and they are able to monitor thousands of MARTA cameras, also our regional partners that have cameras that we have access to. But they're there to keep an eye on the system, keep an eye on our ridership, our citizens, to try to be proactive when it comes to fighting crime.
Talk to me about
also, it's a very good opportunity for our officers to call in and say, hey, we see something, what do you see? And they can certainly jump on the cameras and relate their information that they find.
That's what I was just about to ask you. How has it changed the response to incidents across the system?
Oh, it's fantastic. They've been very proactive. They've been able to stop crime before it happens by actually seeing it take place in the system, whether it be on a train, a bus, or on one of our platforms. And they're able to call out assistance from our officers that are out there on the front lines and really do a quick response to those incidents that happen.
There's been a recent wave of violent acts connected to MARTA train stations. We talked to you about just after a double shooting on the train near East Point. Has the Real-Time Crime Center helped out in that case? And if so, walk us through the process.
Yeah, there's been some fantastic technology over the last couple of years that we've been able to purchase, that we've used to really identify those bad actors. So we've been able to identify those people involved in that incident, and we're currently seeking them right now with our Marshall Task Force personnel. So again, the combination of real police officers on the front lines and technology that we're using in the background is really a force multiplier, and it's showing in our crime stats. We're down about 45% in violent crime this year, and I think that's attributing to this technology.
That's good for, I'm sure, the consumer to hear. I'm sure they want to know about that as well. How does this help you out with your boots on the ground?
It's a force multiplier. We actually really, there's times when we can't be everywhere at one time. So if we see a situation where we know we're going to be short-staffed in a certain area, we'll use our real-time crime center to keep an eye on that area to make sure that people are safe. And if they do see something, they can report it out, and we'll react to that immediately.
Yeah. How can your customers help you out in this regard?
Yeah. So we have a CNC app. They can download the CNC app on their phones. They can also call 4911 on their cell phones, 848-4911 if they're on the system, or even if they just want to call and give us a tip about something they saw. But CNC is definitely what we want. We want our customers to be good witnesses and not interact with bad actors. So we always want them to report what they see. Obviously,
yep. All right. Any room for this system to expand even more?
Absolutely. We're continuing to look at new technology that's out there. And I think by the time we finish up this fiscal year and maybe into the next year, there's going to be additional technology out there that will enhance this system and be able to really pinpoint bad people when we need them, when we need it to. And of course, this rolls into huge events that we're seeing take place in Atlanta. We've got FIFA World Club Cup coming up next week. Mm-hmm. We've been preparing that for several months. All our officers are on duty during those game days. We brought additional resources in for EMS support, if we need any kind of EMT support on the platforms. And all the off days are canceled. It's a full all hands on deck. Every day of the games are going on, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 3-week match.
All right, sounds good. Chief Creer, really appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend, all right?
You too. Take care. Nice to see you.
All right, nice to see you as well. All right, folks, the countdown is on for next week's FIFA Club World Cup. How GDOT is preparing, up next. All right, that is Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where next week we'll get a good test for what we can expect next year during the FIFA World Cup. Natalie Dale with GDOT joins us, and next week the FIFA World Cup, the FIFA Club World Cup, will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll have 2 games there starting at 3 p.m. And, Natalie, first of all, good to see you. How you doing?
It's so good to see you. Happy Friday.
Yes, it is a Friday. And how much will those games, those 2 games that we'll have starting at 3 o'clock, affect the downtown connector where it's already kind of crowded during a normal rush hour? What impact will it have?
Well, we're getting better at these, aren't we? We had Taylor Swift and Beyonce, performing at the same time a year or so ago. And so we are used to having these big events downtown in the downtown area. That doesn't mean that everyone is tuned into what's going on. So here's our chance to get tuned in. We're going to have a lot of congestion surrounding this. And you're right, it is a great warm up for the World Cup games to come in the future. So just stay traffic aware. We talked to you a lot about staying weather aware. Mm-hmm. Stay traffic aware, but also stay weather aware, but stay traffic aware as these big events are happening downtown. Of course, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the downtown connector, a lot of pressure on transit systems, but we are working to get all of these things sort of moving, if you will, as we prepare for events like this and then eventual bigger events with the World Cup coming.
Yeah. Do you guys, how often do you work with MARTA? Are you guys closely working together at all?
That's the cool thing about transportation in Metro Atlanta, is that we work together, whether it is on big projects like express lanes, the express lane systems that we're working on up 400 that will come to 285. We work hand in hand with MARTA to make sure that there is a transit aspect to those. Yeah. And that extends not just to the big projects, but to day-to-day work to make sure that we are touching base. We have the ATL, which is basically transportation in Metro Atlanta. That includes the Department of Transportation. That includes City of Atlanta Department of Transportation. That includes MARTA, a bus service, so things like that. So we are always, the great minds in transportation are always working together. I know sometimes people think that we are in a silo and we don't know what's going on. That could not be further from the truth. We work together during major events and every day to make sure that we are doing what we can with the tools we have to move transportation in the right direction.
Is that going to be the key? Like, what is the key thing you want the folks to know when it comes to these big events? Is it like you want them to park and maybe take MARTA in, or what's the thing you want them to know the most?
Well, we want you to plan ahead, and we talk about that a lot. And part of that is if you are not a participant, if you do not need to be downtown, if you do not need to be in Midtown, know now that that's probably not going to be where you need to go. So if people who are not actively participating in the event or don't have to be in the area for work can stay away, that's going to limit some of that congestion. And then have a plan, but also have a plan B and a plan C. If your plan is to take Uber down, that's great. But if you're stuck in traffic because that's a car, what is your plan B? What is your MARTA plan? What is your carpool plan? Who can go with you? Can you organize a group to carpool so we're taking cars off the road? The most important thing is to be very deliberate in your plan. If you don't need to be there, don't be there, but know it's going to put pressure on the system. And if you do want to participate in the events, whether it's a Club World Cup or whether it's a big concert series, have a plan A, a B, and C, not only going, but coming, because sometimes late at night when these events let out, we have everyone trying to exit at the same time. So people came in at different times, but now everyone's trying to leave. So just make sure that you are working through multiple layers of a plan, coming and going.
Gotcha. All right, heading into Father's Day weekend, is there any hot spots that we need to keep an eye on?
Well, of course, we've got all that paving that we've talked about many times going on around Metro Atlanta, so keep an eye out for paving. We don't want Dad stuck in congestion while he's trying to enjoy whatever dads enjoy on Father's Day weekend, time with the family. So again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so important. Plan ahead, check 511, check with y'all, make sure that you know where those project limits are. We've got, of course, mostly in Metro right now, work on the east side interchange and the west side interchange at I-20 and 285, as well as robust paving schedules in advance of World Cup to come.
All right, sounds good. Natalie Dale at GDOT, really appreciate you joining us today. Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much.
All right, coming up on The Take, we're going to talk to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office about what they plan on doing for dads behind bars. And college athletes could be seeing big payoffs soon. We'll talk to an athlete about it coming up. This is The Take. Don't go anywhere. All right, Father's Day is approaching, and the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is once again turning its focus inward. It's hosting a unique forum aimed at restoring the purpose and pride in incarcerated dads. Joining us now is David Jones, the Cobb County Sheriff's Office Chief of Staff. Mr. Jones, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, talk to me about Live Noble, that Father's Day forum. Tell me what it's all about.
All right, so we are having our second annual Live Nobly fatherhood program here at the Cobb County Sheriff's Office Adult Detention Center. This is a program that was really put together by the Divine Nine fraternities. And within the Sheriff's Office, we have a fatherhood program that works on bringing fathers together to let them know, no matter the state that they're in, you know, we all have a responsibility as fathers, and we want to encourage them to be better fathers, as well as all of us. And so this program really brings all of us together, forms a brotherhood, and helps us lean and engage in the conversation so that we can help one another.
Gotcha. All right, so how are the inmates selected to participate in the program?
So the inmates are currently in our fatherhood program that we have here at the Sheriff's Office. We have a fatherhood program that pretty much runs about 4 times a year, and it's ran by Dr. James Anderson, who is actually a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And so our Sheriff Craig Owens, is a member of Omega Psi Phi. And so we just looked at this as a something we could do all together with the Divine Nine and fraternities to really bring this together and show the unity within the organizations, and also do something related to fatherhood.
What's some of the impacts you've seen from the inmates after they've participated in the program?
Man, it's been amazing. We had a speaker to actually come back who was a former detainee, finished the program, is currently out, has a job, he's working, he has a savings account, he's doing really well for himself, he's taking care of himself. He came back and he's actually enrolled in Georgia State University right now.
Nice.
And so one of the things that we did within the program is, you know, we're big about scholarship in the Divine Nine fraternities, And so we awarded this young man a scholarship to further his education.
Now, you mentioned the fraternities. Are they the ones that you said they came up with you with that program and brought it to you all? What is their role in the whole program?
So the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and this is ironic. Omega Psi Phi fraternity has a fatherhood initiative. It's an international initiative, and within that program, I actually serve as the state representative for Georgia Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Mm-hmm. And so we have partnered with Georgia Department of Human Services. We partnered with WorkSource Cobb just to bring different avenues for men who need these programs and they incarcerated. And so we want to give them an opportunity to better themselves so when they get out of this facility, they'll be able to further their lives. And so we're able to offer education. They're able to get a construction certificate to actually get a job and work in construction, a welding certificate. We provide a parenting 101 program. We provide anger management. There's several programs that we offer within this facility. And so other organizations have similar programs related to uplifting the men, making sure that men are involved within the household. And so this was just a culmination of bringing all of those brothers together to be able to lift up the men who are here in the Cobb County Detention Center.
Quickly, do you see this spreading to other sheriff's offices?
You know, we have several other Omegas and Divine Nine sheriffs within Georgia. And so I can certainly see something like this being spread throughout Georgia. Whether they're Greek or not, we certainly offer these, the things that we do here to spread to other areas within Georgia. And we know that other sheriff offices are doing events similar to what we're doing here, whether it's related to parenting, whether it's related to anger management. They have programs within their facilities. And so I think we may be onto something to spread like fatherhood program, even around Father's Day to other organizations, to other sheriff's offices as well.
Gotcha. All right. We appreciate what you're doing. Mr. David Jones, have a great day and happy Father's Day to you as well.
Hey, thank you. Same to you.
All right. Take care now. All right, take a look our forecast, and really this picture kind of tells it all. We do have low-level cloudiness over us right now. This is over toward Dahlonega, and you can't even see what would be the trees and the mountains in the background there. It has been so foggy up in this particular area. Also the rain as well. That's a parking deck right there in the front. You can see how wet that standing water is sitting there on the parking deck. And so you have to be on the lookout for scattered showers as we head through the afternoon. Folks, we'll see more of that. That fog should lift out of the area by 10 or 11 o'clock this morning. All right, so I'm calling this one of the biggest changes in college sports. A federal judge recently ruled that Division I colleges can pay athletes directly. The move could begin as early as next month by sharing up to $20.5 million per school year. Here, bringing a unique perspective is 11Alive sports anchor Marcus Graves, who is a former running back for the Ducks at Oregon State. And he lived both sides of it. He's now a journalist with us. And so, I'm sorry, the Beavers, Oregon State Beavers. I'm looking at the Beavers. My bad, Marcus. Talk to me about your reaction to this ruling.
Well, first of all, my first reaction is, man, I wish I would have played a few years later, man, so I could have got a check, man, because it sounds great. To be honest with you, man, big time. It's huge because I think it's giving a lot of younger athletes, and especially former college athletes, a new perspective on college sports. I think every time we've had this conversation, and this conversation's been brought up multiple times, it's always fallen back to where you're a college athlete, so you should not be getting paid like a professional. You should not be treated like a professional. Now we have the schools being able to pay for their college athletes directly. I think that changes everything because now if you're a college athlete, you have so many other things other than just football to think about, not only when you're being recruited, but when you're there playing. I know, just for a quick example, when I was there, getting a scholarship check is great. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was the most money at 17, 18. That's probably the most money I've ever seen in one sitting. Mm-hmm. Now you've got kids who can get paid by their own school personally, say $1 million if you're a quarterback. That is absolutely insane. And just when that happened, I was extremely happy for the athletes. I'm just hoping they find a way to kind of cage it in, which they're trying to right now. But in general, huge, massive news. And again, my man, I think I'm about 5 years, 6 years, a little too late. But
now, did I hear that they're reaching back, though? Would you be able to be eligible for any of this money?
I am. Surprisingly. Now, it does depend on, the range that you have played, where you played, your school, how much marketing they had. So I actually did go back, because anytime they say free money, my man, you got to go back and get it. But I did go back and see, and I was eligible to get a few dollars, nothing, no millions of dollars, because if I did, man, I think you would definitely know, because I'd be walking through that studio a little different. But for the most part, yeah, they did reach out to us and say, hey, this did just happen. If you do want to fill out this form, you can see how much money you would get, and just go back and, like I said, get a few dollars, which was really cool. I'm happy they're still taking care of the former athletes and not just taking care of the athletes now and then the athletes to come. I think that was very cool.
Yeah. Give me a little bit of your insight on this. Now, critics are worried that this may go to, men's football and basketball. Obviously, those are the revenue drivers for a lot of schools. But what about women's sports and some of those non-revenue sports? Will they suffer from this?
Personally, I don't think so. I think we're seeing it right now where women's sports is really taking off, and it's a shame that it's taken so long for it to take off. But at the same time, this might be a massive outlier. But you look at Caitlin Clark. Obviously, she brought in a ton of revenue, not just for Iowa, but just for women's sports in general. I think if the school is serious about doing this and wanting to pay their athletes, whether that be football, basketball, softball, track, you name it, as long as they make sure that they're being responsible and understanding it's not just football, it's not just men's basketball. There's other sports that need to be taken care of as well, because they're also driving in a lot of revenue. Great example I can give you is Oregon State's, when I was in our women's basketball team, was way better than our football team. Mm-hmm. They should, if NIL was involved right there, they should have been making more money than us, because they're driving in more viewers, they're driving in more championships, and they're driving in more traffic to Corvallis, Oregon. Now, we don't know how it's going to look. I don't think teams will suffer as long as the schools are responsible, and as long as who's ever calling those shots at the university is being responsible, knowing that we have to not just look at men's basketball, but look at football, look at women's basketball, look at swimming, look at whatever's driving the revenue there, but also just knowing that there's other sports other than those two involved.
Gotcha. 11Alive sports anchor Marcus. Marcus, we appreciate you. And folks, don't let him fool you. He walks around the newsroom like he's walking on money. It's all good. Or it's the shoes. One or the other. Appreciate you, Marcus.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Take care, man.
Take care. All right. We could be paying more money at the pumps in the coming days. We're going to talk to CNN's Maribel Aber about what it could mean for our pocketbooks coming up. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the show. Tensions overseas is shaking up the global markets once again. CNN's Maribel Aber joins us now from the NASDAQ market site in New York. And good morning, Maribel. What happened overnight that could have us paying more at the pumps?
Good morning, Chesley. Well, we've been seeing oil prices rise this week, even before today. That may end up translating to higher gas prices. And this morning, oil prices are surging following Israel's airstrikes on Iran. The military action has triggered fears oil supply could be disrupted. Iran has been producing 3.3 million barrels a day, according to OPEC. There's concern other oil-producing nations in the region could be drawn into the conflict. Right now, crude oil is up 8%. At the moment, Chesley, the International Energy Agency said the oil markets are well supplied, but it's ready to act if needed.
Gotcha. Maribel, we're getting some new comments from the White House, which sounds like it could rattle automakers and drivers alike, right?
Autos have been right in the middle of the tariff wars, and now President Trump, Chesley, says he may hike tariffs on imported autos to spur more production in the U.S. Trump said he put a 25% tariff on foreign autos, and that prompted automakers to invest more in U.S. production. He went on to say he might increase that tariff in the, quote, not too distant future. He added that, quote, the higher you go, the more likely it is they build a plant here. General Motors is among the automakers recently increasing its investment in U.S. auto production. It was earlier this week that GM said it plans to invest $4 billion to boost production in the U.S. The money is going to go to 3 assembly plants located in Michigan, Kansas, and Tennessee. GM will also move or increase production of 2 vehicles produced in Mexico to U.S. plants. So maybe jobs. Chesley.
Gotcha. All right. So people were complaining yesterday about their apps glitching, but now we know why, right?
We do. There was a widespread outage that hit Spotify, Snapchat, and Discord, among others. They were all affected by a Google Cloud outage yesterday. Website Down Detector showed more than 13,000 reported incidents related to Google Cloud at one point. By late yesterday, though, Google said all services were back up and running. It was a setback for Google as its cloud unit looks to compete with bigger rivals like Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. Google Cloud has been one of the company's faster growing businesses as it benefits from demand for artificial intelligence services. Chesley.
All right. Well, finally, we're learning that a popular gadget accessory is now being recalled for safety concerns. Tell us about it.
More than 1 million Anker power banks are being recalled after multiple reports of fires and explosions. Safety regulators say Anker has received 19 reports of fires and explosions, causing minor burns and property damage of more than $60,000. Now, the recall affects Anker's PowerCore 10,000 power bank model A1263, and the power banks were sold online through Amazon, eBay, and elsewhere between June 2016 and December 2022. Anker's offering a choice of either a $30 gift card. The recalled battery costs around $27, or it will replace the recalled model. Now, you'll need to submit a picture of the power bank showing the model number and serial number that's at the bottom of the device. Chesley, for more details, we can tell folks how to have that device replaced. You can check Anker's website at anker.com.
All right. Sounds like it may not be a good gift for Father's Day. Let's for now.
Oh, no. I'll get you something better.
We'll have at it. What'd you pick up?
Well, I said I will think about something better.
Gotcha.
So maybe put some suggestions out there.
So wise. So wise. Well, you got to get up early in the morning with Maribel. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.
You got it.
All right. After the break, folks, we're going to examine how you live may dictate the kind of care you get for treating Alzheimer's. We'll be back right after this. This is The Take. Well, welcome back. A new University of Georgia study highlights the stark gap between Alzheimer's care access. Rural Georgians often face hours-long trips just to receive diagnosis and treatment. Joining us now is Dr. Niang Lee, assistant professor at the UGA College of Pharmacy. Dr. Lee, welcome to the show.
Hello, Chesley. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. What does this study reveal about the current divide between healthcare access between urban and rural communities in Georgia, especially when it comes to Alzheimer's care?
Yeah, so this study looks at access to the new Alzheimer's disease modifying drug named lecanemab. So how this drug works, this is not a cure, but this drug slows down Alzheimer's disease progression, but it's only eligible for early stage Alzheimer's disease. And to be eligible for the drug, you need to get a diagnosis and also be able to demonstrate that there is a protein accumulation in your brain called the beta amyloid. And this can be done using a PET scan, amyloid PET scan, or lumbar puncture. But this study, we focus on the availability of amyloid PET scan in across Georgia. And after you get a diagnosis, after you demonstrate that you have this amyloid protein accumulation in your brain, and after you met all these exclusion criteria and you're willing to receive the drug, you will need to get to a lecanemab infusion center to be able to receive the drug. So there are a lot of steps to be completed by the patient and patient's caregivers. And this study showed that the availability of amyloid PET scan centers in Georgia is limited, and for people living for rural patients, they need to travel for about over an hour to get to the nearest amyloid PET scan center to receive the imaging services. And in terms of the distribution of lecanemab infusion centers, they are scattered around the Atlanta area. So for rural patients to be able to reach the nearest lecanemab infusion center, the longest drive time can be more than 3 hours, single trip. So that creates a lot of burden, travel, financial, and all these logistics burden for patients and their family caregivers.
Your study mentions about 18 Georgia counties that don't even have a single medical physician in their area. That workforce shortage, how does that compound the diagnosis and treatment of this disease?
Yes, very good question. So as I mentioned earlier, you need to first get a diagnosis. And my study indicated that 18 counties in Georgia don't have family care physicians, and the family care physicians are the entry point to the healthcare system. They are the ones to refer you to a specialist, to memory care, to a neurologist, to a geriatrician, those specialists who are able to make a diagnosis for you so that you can be further consider whether you're eligible for the drug or not. But for people living in those 18 counties without a single family care physician, this is a huge burden because that doesn't allow you to get the first contact into the healthcare system.
Well, Dr. Lee, is there anything being done about that right now? Are we looking at these gaps and saying, how can we, bridge the gap here?
I would say the first option we can consider is the telehealth services. Telehealth services have been growing in the past several years. So maybe you can find a provider online who can answer questions about your memory concerns. However, not every provider provides telehealth services. And also telehealth services require that the place you live have good broadband internet access, which is again something that rural areas lack. And also whether the patient, whether the provider is comfortable with the technology is something we don't know about. So this is a promising area that we can explore, but there are also uncertainties.
All right, Dr. Lee, thank you so much for bringing attention to this matter. Really appreciate your insight this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. All right, plenty more stories for you coming up, folks, plus my final take coming up after the break. It's like a broken record, folks. Scattered showers and thunderstorms each and every afternoon for the next couple of days. In fact, for the foreseeable future, that's what we're looking at. Today is no different. We'll have those isolated showers popping up. And a shower could break out at any time. Let me just say that. But more likely to see the showers and thunderstorms once we get to the afternoon, which will happen after 1 o'clock and will linger right on into the evening hours. We'll see it again over the weekend. 86 degrees will be the high temperature for both Saturday and Sunday, a 40 to 50% chance for those scattered showers and thunderstorms. It continues as we start the work week next week. Monday, you're looking at a 40% chance for the rain. 40% chance continues as we head into Tuesday. Notice how the temperature starts to creep up just a little bit. That's because that rain chance starts to go down just a little bit. By Wednesday, we're looking at a 30% chance for the rain. That temperature will be at 90 degrees. We're looking at 91 by Thursday. Again, with that 30% chance, mainly during the afternoon is where you get those scattered showers and thunderstorms popping up in the area. And you got to factor in the humidity. That makes it feel a lot warmer on the outside. All right, time for my final take, folks. And is it just me, or does Father's Day feel like it gets a participation trophy? Yeah, compared to Mother's Day, Father's Day feels like an afterthought at times. Just look at the numbers and you tell me. In 2024, purchases on Mother's Day reached $33.5 billion, while on Father's Day, spending was about $22.4 billion. That's a 56% disparity, according to the National Retail Federation. Now, I know you're probably thinking $22.4 billion is nothing to sneeze at, but guess who spends more on both holidays? Dads. That's because moms and children are looking for dads to treat themselves and still spoil mom on her day. Now, before you start thinking, I'm blaming mom, I'm not. In fact, I'm going to point the finger at us dads. We need to step up more, spend more time with our children so they appreciate our worth. Now, that's not going to change anything, though. The old joke is still true, of course. After teaching your kids how to play sports, whether it's basketball, football, whatever it is, they become famous. They get on TV, and you know what they say? Hi, Mom. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's all we got for you today, folks. Yeah, make it a great weekend, a Dad's Day weekend. Encourage Dad to do something great for himself if we got to spend the money, right? Have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day.